You believe they disrespect you because you are weak. This is the story you tell yourself. It is a simple story, a tragic one. It positions you as the noble victim in a world of predators. It explains your pain. It justifies your inaction. But this story is a lie. It is a comforting but crippling misdiagnosis of your own condition. And because the diagnosis is wrong, the cure has eluded you for years. They do not disrespect your weakness. In fact, your perceived weakness barely registers to them as a primary asset. They are capitalizing on something far more valuable, far more useful: your predictability. Weakness is a state of being. Predictability is a pattern of behavior. One is a cage built by others. The other is a cage you have built for yourself, lock by lock, day by day. Today, we are going to deconstruct that cage. We will not teach you how to become stronger. That is a child's goal. That is surface-level advice for the masses. Here, we deal in strategy. You will learn how to become unreadable, unknowable. You will learn how to become strategically unpredictable. And in doing so, you will become ungovernable. Chapter 1: The Myth of Weakness. To move forward, we must first burn the map that has led you astray. We must dismantle the pillar of your current identity, this seductive idea of weakness. What do you truly mean when you say you are weak? Do you mean you lack physical strength? A negligible factor in the modern arenas of psychological warfare. Do you mean you lack courage? Perhaps. But let us dissect this further. More often than not, what people label a lack of courage is actually an excess of a specific social instinct, the preservation of harmony. It is an overdeveloped need for external validation. You fear the consequences of your actions, not for yourself, but for how they will make others feel about you. You fear the labels: selfish, uncaring, difficult. This is not an inherent weakness. This is a misplaced strategic priority. You have been meticulously trained by society to prioritize the emotional comfort of others over your own strategic position and mental sovereignty. The myth of weakness serves a purpose. For you, it is a shield. It absolves you of responsibility. I am simply not strong enough to handle them, you say. And with those words, you willingly surrender your power. You choose the comfort of victimhood over the burden of agency for them, the manipulator. Your belief in your own weakness is incredibly convenient. It is a masterful piece of misdirection. As long as you are focused on this imaginary flaw, you will never look at the real vulnerability. You will spend all your energy trying to build a thicker shield, never realizing the enemy is not attacking your shield at all. They have simply found the key to the main gate, and you are the one who handed it to them years ago. The problem is not your character, it is your code. Your programming has been written by others for their benefit. Your behavior is a series of predictable algorithms that anyone with patience and a lack of conscience can learn to exploit. So let us run a diagnostic. Let us examine that code. Chapter 2: The Anatomy of Predictability. Predictability is the single greatest vulnerability in any strategic system. In war, in chess, in life. It allows your opponent to act with perfect information, to know your response before you have even made it. To live a predictable life is to live in a glass house surrounded by stone throwers. Your own predictability can be broken down into 3 primary categories. We will call this the axis of exploitation. First, the most common and most targeted, emotional predictability. This is the realm of the puppeteer. The manipulator knows precisely which emotional buttons to press to get a guaranteed reaction. They have studied you. They know a single backhanded compliment will make you seek their approval for the rest of the day, performing like a trained animal for another scrap of validation. They know a well-timed accusation of selfishness, no matter how baseless, will cause you to immediately fold and give them what they want just to disprove the label. They know bringing up a past failure, your failure, will flood you with shame and make you compliant. Your emotional responses are not your own. They are a script written by your childhood, your society, and honed by your manipulators. A script that you perform on cue every single time they demand it. You do not have feelings. You are had by them, and your manipulator is the director of the play. Second on the axis is behavioral predictability. Think of your routines with cold, analytical detachment. The time you wake up, the route you take to work, the coffee shop you frequent, the people you speak to every day, the exact way you begin conversations, the nervous pleasantries you use to end them, the way you hold your body when you are uncomfortable. To you, these are just habits that make life easier. To an observer, a predator, they are a map of your entire life, rendered in high definition. They study this map. They learn where you are vulnerable when you are alone, what your patterns of avoidance are. They use this knowledge to stage coincidences, to appear in the right place at the right time, to isolate you from your support systems, to make you believe you are going crazy, that the world revolves around them. It does not. You do. Your predictable orbit makes you an easy target to intercept. Third, and most insidious, is moral predictability. This is the vulnerability of the good person. You operate on a fixed moral code. You believe in fairness, in honesty, in giving others the benefit of the doubt. These are, in a vacuum, admirable qualities, but in the strategic reality of human interaction, they are massive, exploitable weaknesses. A manipulator knows that a good person cannot bear to be seen as a bad person, and so they use your own morality as a weapon against you. They will call your boundaries selfish. They will call your self-respect arrogant. They will call your silence cruel. They will frame their toxic demands as a cry for help, knowing your rescuer instinct is predictable. Because you are morally predictable, you will always rise to the defense. You will explain yourself, justify yourself. You will enter their courtroom drama where they are the judge, the jury, and the executioner. You will exhaust yourself fighting to prove you are a good person, never realizing that the very act of engaging in their frame is the act of losing. Your need to be seen as good makes you their pawn. Chapter 3. The Predator's Algorithm. Now let us shift perspective entirely. Let us look through the cold, calculating eyes of the predator, the manipulator. They do not see you as a person. They see you as a system, a machine to be operated. Their first task is to learn the machine's operating system. They do this through a process of relentless patient testing and observation. They run small diagnostic programs. They will give you a tiny, unreasonable request, like asking for a ride at an inconvenient time to see if your predictable need to be helpful overrides your own logic and self-respect. They will give you a subtle, backhanded compliment. I love how you just don't care what anyone thinks of your outfit, to see if your predictable insecurity makes you seek their validation. They will start a tiny, baseless rumor or misrepresent your words to a friend to see if your predictable emotional response is to become flustered, defensive, and immediately try to fix it. Each time you react as expected, you confirm a line of your own code for them. Check, you are now 10% more readable. Check, 30% more. Check, 70% more. They are simply confirming their hypothesis about you, a classic case of confirmation bias. They look for evidence of your predictability, and your programmed responses give it to them every time. Once they have mapped your operating system, manipulation becomes terrifyingly simple. It is no longer an art. It is a science. It is a matter of input and output. If they desire compliance, they will provide the guilt trip input. You will predictably produce the apology and acquiescence output. If they desire control, they will provide the instability input, a mix of intense affection and sudden coldness, a cycle of idealization and devaluation. You will predictably produce the desperate to please, walking on eggshells output. If they desire to isolate you, they will provide the use against the world input. convincing you that only they truly understand you. You will predictably produce the cutting off your friends and family output. This is the dark truth. These people are not charismatic geniuses. They are not grandmaster strategists. They are simply patient programmers who have found a machine, you, with a very simple, very predictable operating system. But any machine can have its code rewritten. Chapter 4: The Art of Strategic Unpredictability. You do not escape this dynamic by becoming stronger. You escape by becoming a black box. You escape by introducing chaos and uncertainty into the system. You must become strategically unpredictable. This is not about being erratic or random. It is about making conscious, strategic choices that break the patterns others have come to rely on. Here are 3 core techniques to begin your system upgrade. Technique 1: the pattern interrupt. The next time someone uses a predictable tactic on you, intentionally violate your own script. Case study: a colleague constantly makes sarcastic, belittling jokes at your expense in meetings. Your predictable response is to either nervously laugh along or to become visibly angry and defensive. Both responses feed them. The pattern interrupt is to do neither. The next time it happens, do not change your facial expression. Let the joke hang in the air for a second of pure silence. Then, without emotion, look at them and ask with detached curiosity, "Can you explain the humor in that? I want to understand the methodology behind the joke." This single act shatters their frame. It short-circuits their strategy. They expect emotion. You give them logic. They are prepared for a fight or submission, not a calm, intellectual dissection of their failed attempt at humor. The power dynamic in the room instantly reverses. You have taken control of the scene. Technique 2: the emotional decoy. This is a more advanced tactic. It involves displaying an emotion that is entirely contrary to what is expected, using emotion as a tool, not a reflex. Case study: a partner or family member tries to control you with a dramatic, angry outburst to get their way. They expect you to respond with either fear, submission, or a counter outburst of your own anger. The emotional decoy is to respond with calm pity or even gentle amusement. Let them finish their tirade and then say softly, "It must be exhausting to have to feel that level of anger all the time. I hope you find some peace." Your pity and calm amusement signal that their display of power is not only ineffective, it is viewed as a weakness, a flaw. Their power comes from your fearful reaction. When you deny them that reaction and reframe their anger as a pathetic display, their power evaporates. Technique 3: the information famine. This is perhaps the most powerful and most difficult technique to master because it fights every social instinct you have. Where you are expected to react, defend, explain, or justify, you provide absolute nothingness, silence. When you are hit with a baseless accusation, your every instinct screams to defend your honor. This is your predictability. The unpredictable response is a calm, unwavering silence. Hold eye contact, do not speak. This creates a vacuum, a void. The manipulator who relies on your input to continue their game becomes deeply uncomfortable. They need your reaction. In their desperation to get one, they will start talking. They will fill the void. They will reveal their motives, their insecurities, their entire strategy, all because you refuse to play your part. Silence is not passive, it is an offensive weapon. It is a demonstration that you are in such complete control of your own reality that you have no need to participate in theirs. Conclusion: for your entire life, you have been playing a game of chess, obsessing over the perceived strength of your pieces. You believed you were losing because your pawns were weak. The truth is, you were losing because your opponent had stolen your playbook. They could see every move you were going to make 10 moves in advance. The game was over before it began. The disrespect you have endured was never the disease, it was a symptom. The disease was predictability. Your task moving forward is not to simply get stronger, it is to become less readable. to erase the map of your own mind that you have so generously provided to the world. You must cultivate mystery, you must embrace ambiguity, you must learn to love the blank page upon which your next move is not yet written. A sovereign individual is not one who can win any fight. A sovereign individual is one whose next move can never, ever be known. Stop trying to be a fortress. A fortress, no matter how strong, can be studied, besieged, and eventually broken. Instead, become a fog. Become a ghost. Become a black box.